Shang-Chi's Simu Liu is claiming that he thought playing a guy that gets beaten up by a main character was the pinnacle for Asian actors. Completely disregarding, again, people like Bruce Lee, Jackie Chan, Jet Li, and others. Just completely disrespecting his own culture to promote this movie. But let's get into this. This is an article from Bounding into Comics by Spencer Bakuli. In the title, Shang-Chi's Simu Liu claims, I thought playing a guy that gets beaten up by a main character was the pinnacle for Asian characters. Simu Liu has continued to ignore history in order to virtue signal for brownie points in the here and now, as the actor recently doubled down on his self-centered assertion that his upcoming Marvel film, Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings, will finally show audiences an aspirational Asian hero. Liu revisited his pompous rhetoric during an August 31st Reddit AMA session hosted by the r/Marvel Studios subreddit. Throughout the online Q&A, Liu not only chose to respond to near exclusively to softball questions with answers that felt forced and scripted, but in one in particular instance, outright ignored a series of questions of genuine substance. Presented with a series of 5 questions by user Hot Zone Kill, which Shang-Chi comics you've read that stuck out to you well? Who was your favorite sparring partner while filming the movie? Who would be your top choice to play Amadeus Cho / Totally Awesome Hulk / Brawn? What's your favorite food item for Boppo Mofo? And cheekily, why is Tim Hortons so disappointing? Liu chose to only answer the 2 food-related questions. Bapamofo's Mapo taters will change your life. Tim Hortons is trying too hard to do food menu items, the actor briefly replied. Ice Cap's still on point, though. However, his inability to inspire any further confidence in his upcoming film did not hinder Liu from using the AMA as an opportunity to once again position himself and his film as godsends for Asian representation, which he almost exclusively frames as having been devoid of any significant characters since at least 2012. Asked by user Future is Bright for Us, the standard questions of, as an Asian actor, how difficult was it working your way up? And did you have to deal with racism, stereotyping, typecasting, etc. during that journey? Liu audaciously replied, let's put it this way. In 2012, when I first started out, I thought maybe if I worked really hard, I could be a guy that gets beaten up by one of the main characters one day. That was the pinnacle for actors that looked like me, he bizarrely claimed. I'm ashamed to say that I've put on the most ridiculous and offensive accents in the past, all because I thought that it was more important to give the casting director what they wanted than to be true to myself. That's not acting. Acting is putting on that accent. Acting is being somebody else, not being true to yourself. What are you talking about? That's ridiculous. But he continued, over time, as I toiled about the industry and struggled to find my footing, I started to realize all the ways the industry discriminated against us, and that we needed to become the masters of our own narrative, because the way that we were being portrayed was not positive or authentic. That's why representation behind the camera is just as important as in the front, he concluded. Like his last declaration, wherein he claimed that Shang-Chi would give Asian kids, quote, what I didn't have, which are characters that are aspirational, and that also reflect their lived experience. This declaration is not only self-aggrandizing, and seems to serve no other purpose than inflating his and Disney's egos, but completely ignores the multitude of Asian actors who entered pop culture history long before Liu's career began. Yeah, and he claims that this movie is gonna be huge for Asians, but he's, while disrespecting Asian culture and other Asian actors and movies. He's just erasing them with his rhetoric and virtue signaling. It's absolutely disgusting. Because not only does Liu's positioning of Shang-Chi as an oasis in a desert of Asian representation spit in the faces and careers of such legendary cinematic icons such as Jackie Chan, Chow Yun-fat, Tony Jaa, Bruce Lee, whom the character of Shang-Chi was based on, and Jet Li, but also Liu's direct MCU co-stars, Chloe Bennett and Ming-Na Wen, both of Chinese heritage, who headlined Marvel's Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. for 7 years, across 136 total episodes. Of course, this is to say nothing of the storied careers of the decades worth of Asian cinema and television stars whose native works become Western fan favorites, including various tokusatsu and anime productions, whose openly Japanese cast and characters help establish a strong foundation for interest in other Asian cultures in the West. In fact, without a groundwork laid by the specific career of Japanese cultural sensation Hiroshi Fujioka, whose original and continued portrayal of the very first Kamen Rider arguably served as the first spark to the widespread wave of interest in live-action superhero adaptations audiences know today. Ultimately, one can only hope that Liu's arrogance and reliance on Marvel's audience having a total attention span of 0 seconds turns out to be a winning marketing strategy, as Shang-Chi is currently projected to have the worst opening weekend in the history of the Marvel Cinematic Universe. What do you make of Liu's latest comment? Yeah. It's his PR has been terrible for this. It's just been virtue signaling the whole time, and he's completely been erasing Asian culture, erasing these great Asian actors, Asian movies, while doing it. It's just disgusting to see them rewrite history and erase all these things just so they can promote their movie and virtue signal. I mean, the fact that he said this is absolutely ridiculous. I thought playing a guy that gets beaten up by a main character was the pinnacle for Asian actors. Come on. It's just so disappointing to see this. Hopefully it stops soon. But, I mean, jeez. And it's not even looking like your movie's gonna do well. Not looking like it's gonna be that big step for Asians that you thought it was gonna be. It's like it's gonna flop hard. I guess, what do you think about his comments? Let me know. If you liked it, subscribe if you want to see more, comment, share. I have another channel called Thoughtful Outlaw Sports where I talk about basketball, baseball, football, anything else sports related I'm interested in. So check that out if you're interested, and see you next time. Bye-bye.